Open world gaming is all the rage in modern times. Players love the idea of investing a ton of hours exploring everything these experiences have to offer, especially if there are so many gameplay loops to interact with that any playstyle can be accounted for. This jack-of-all-trades approach may be criticized by some, but that should take nothing away from the strengths these titles bring to the table. Fans will love how all-encompassing these titles are, especially when the execution is so great.
Let's go with GTA 5. This game throws you into the massive city of Los Santos and its surrounding countryside, and the freedom is just insane. You can follow the main story with 3 very different protagonists, or ignore it completely and just explore. Drive cars, ride bikes, fly planes, or even jump out of helicopters for some crazy stunts. On top of that, there's a ton of side content. Heists, street races, golf, tennis, even finding hidden secrets across the city. Combat is flexible too. You can take missions head on, sneak in stealthily, or you just cause chaos. It's the kind of game where you're always discovering something new. And that mix of story, action, and open world freedom is what makes GTA 5 unforgettable.
Finally, Horizon Forbidden West takes open-world gaming to a whole new level. You play as Aloy, exploring a breathtaking world filled with mechanical beasts, tribal societies, and hidden ruins. The main story is epic, but the side activities are just as rewarding. You can hunt machines, craft and upgrade weapons, complete side quests, and discover secret areas. Traversal is amazing too. Climb mountains, glide across valleys, and ride overridden machines. Combat is strategic, with stealth, traps, and direct attacks all viable. Every part of the world is interactive, and it's easy to get lost in it for hours. Horizon Forbidden West shows how open-world games can be vast, beautiful, and endlessly engaging. Next up is Far Cry 3, set on the tropical Rook Islands. This game is all about freedom and adventure. The main story is gripping, but there's a huge world full of side missions like rescuing hostages, liberating outposts, hunting animals, and finding collectibles. Combat is incredibly versatile. You can sneak through the jungle with booze and traps, or go all out with guns and explosives. The world feels alive, with wildlife and enemies reacting to your choices. Every corner of the islands has secrets waiting, and the game makes you feel like you're part of this dangerous, beautiful world. It's the perfect mix of action, exploration, and strategy. Everyone has their favorite Assassin's Creed, and Syndicate is a popular pick. This game didn't deserve to be the catalyst that caused the series to go on a hiatus, especially since the Victorian London setting and the focus on gang warfare make for a tantalizing premise. Moving through the streets of London in style, brutalizing enemies as Jacob, and becoming invisible as Evie made for a great time. The sheer amount of content in this game ensures that players can interact with a diverse range of gameplay loops however they see fit. By forsaking the rigid builds that players had to choose from the moment they started Morrowind or Oblivion, Skyrim allowed players to pursue whatever build they desired. From becoming an out-and-out melee warrior to becoming a stealth archer that everyone gravitated toward, Skyrim's build variety was off the charts. The spell trees themselves are so expansive that players can also specialize in one particular school of magic, or become a master of many. The fact that it's completely viable to shoot flames with one hand and cut down enemies with a sword in the other shows just how amazing Skyrim's build variety is, ensuring that every playthrough feels different based on the player's choices.
Kenshi is loaded with so many things to do that it's downright overwhelming. But this isn't clear at first. Based on their background, players are dropped in the middle of nowhere and must both build up their combat stats and find some companions before they can even think of exploring the world. Once this is accomplished, players will be left spellbound by what this world has to offer. Mining, scavenging, burglary, trading, hunting, and brewing are just some of the many ways players can make a ton of money. Players can either become a slave or a slaver in this savage post-apocalyptic world, making it clear that the developers really did think of everything when developing this game.
Breath of the Wild was a massive revolution in the realm of open-world gaming as is, and Tears of the Kingdom took this to a whole new level. Aside from the many freeform gameplay elements from the first game that players could mess around with, DTK introduces Zonai abilities that are ridiculously malleable. Ultra Hand lets players craft anything they set their mind to, Fuse turns basic weapons into major powerhouses, Recall rewinds objects to make puzzles more dynamic than ever, and Ascend lets players escape higher ground in almost every situation. It speaks volumes about the sheer level of depth and care put into this game. It was released in a ridiculously polished state, proving once again that Nintendo really is unmatched when it comes to video game development.
As much as Ghosts of Tsushima may be accused of being a formulaic open-world game, there's no denying that Sucker Punch Productions did a great job of executing its many gameplay facets. Combat is stylish, traversal is decent, and stealth is satisfying in its own way. The cherry on top is the game's incredible art design that turns every corner of the world into wallpaper material. The fact that Ghost of Tsushima doesn't need detailed facial expressions for every cutscene and can just let the visuals speak for themselves is proof enough of how much Sucker Punch Productions has grown.
It's hard to find an open world as immersive as Red Dead Redemption 2. Hunting alone will keep players busy for hours, and that's far from the only thing players can accomplish in this open world. Aside from the main story, players can hunt bounties, bond with camp members, conduct various robberies, gather herbs, meet with strangers, and do anything else possible in this immersive sandbox. It's the longest Rockstar game ever made, and will leave fans with a tear in their eye, showing that the developer didn't skip out in any area of this wonderful game.
As amazing as The Witcher 3 is, combat is pretty one-note, with signs and potions being the only way that players can spice up the game's action. Meanwhile, Cyberpunk 2077 takes a page out of the immersive sim book by making almost every playstyle viable. Players can use melee or ranged weapons, take out enemies in stealth from up close or afar, and use quick hacks to make encounters livelier than ever before. The sheer number of ways players can approach any situation in Cyberpunk 2077 makes its role-playing far deeper than The Witcher 3 and makes it clear why this game deserves its plaudits. Minecraft is the most successful indie game of all time, with the bulk of its appeal coming from the various ways players can approach it. There's nothing wrong with going through the usual progression curve until players reach and beat the Ender Dragon, but that's far from the only way to play this game. Removing enemies and letting players flex their creative muscles is another great way to maximize a player's enjoyment with this game. The sheer number of creative multiplayer modes is so immense that this side of Minecraft alone lets players do everything from explore an accurate recreation of Westeros to participate in an in-game version of the Hunger Games.